Hello and welcome to HTC's Podcast. We are here to shine a light on Hybrid's toughest characters and relive our most memorable moments. I'm Chris.
And I'm Deacon.
Let's start this thing.
Let me just say one thing. If you put any man, woman, child, or animal in front of me on a mat, I'm gonna take them too. HTC, best team in Australia.
Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the HTC Podcast, our first for 2026. So happy new year to everybody. Today, we're lucky enough to be joined by the two chiefs, the two head honchos, Kahn Sandy, and the king of the skies, the mighty albatross, Chris Drummond. So welcome, boys. How are we feeling today?
Good. Good to be on the podcast.
Nice.
We've got a good crew here.
Awesome. Because
Sometimes I feel left out, to be honest, actually.
yeah,
Just Deacon and Chris hanging out. They just kill it with the podcast, and I feel like,
yeah, you're always upstairs, like, working hard, which I want to talk about today, actually, about, your visions for the gym. And, you're always thinking, you can tell by those thought lines are starting to appear in your head. We're not the kids here anymore, we're the adults, which obviously seems scary enough, which is probably really where I should start with both of you guys, because obviously HTC has been a massive part of both of your lives. I remember meeting you, Kahn, as a 15-year-old boy, and we were the same height. Tross, I remember meeting, as we've discussed on the podcast before, in a boxing class. I think you were 17, 18. You were well and truly crazy. Certainly left an impression on me.
Crazier.
So I guess I'd like to start with you, Kahn, if that's okay.
Yeah, man.
Can you tell me, how you came into the gym? Give me that little bit of a story, and if you don't mind, maybe talk a little bit about you and your dad training as well before that.
Yeah, cool. So I was first introduced to HTC. I think it was school, and it was like a sports exposition expo.
Yep.
And Priscus and Adam were doing like a demo. In a hall somewhere. I can't remember the exact details, but they were doing like double legs and hip throws and arm bars as like a demo to like get people in. And I remember seeing it thinking, that's awesome. Already was training in martial arts with Dad pretty much since I was like 2 years old. I was training with him. So he's a karate black belt. He's had a bunch of Muay Thai fights as well. So at a really young age, as soon as I could walk, I was training with him. And my uncle showed me a video of, I think it was Vitor Belfort, one of the very first UFC fights of him just like punching someone across the cage. And
Vanderlei. Remember that?
Yeah. And then I was like watching it like, that is badass and that's awesome. Always had aspirations to fight and just loved the sport. Obviously, Dad getting me into it so young. And then watching that demo of Priscus and Adam was just like, I just thought it was so cool. And then I asked Mum if I could go, and apparently the story goes, she said, yep, you can do it, but you got to figure out how to get there. You got to pay for your own membership, and you got to basically sort it all out. I'm not going to take you. And I figured that out all in a week, and then got myself to training and used my pocket money to give to Priscus, and went to HTC when it was at Kazali's, and did the cult classes, and then, the rest is history.
Yeah. Wow. I actually didn't... There you go, we've known each other a long time. I didn't know you started back at Kazali's. I thought it was Murray Street, so there you go. Very old school. And what about you, Trossi?
I actually got into martial arts because I got bashed really badly. I'd done a little bit of boxing. I think I was about 15. I'd done a little bit of boxing. Me and my mates were just walking around South Hobart. It was like getting pretty late. And then there was this big group of like 20-ish year olds, like this big group of bogans, and they were just walking around, and they kind of just walked up to me and my mate Timmy, and everyone kind of left, but I was very naive to, much violence or anything. So I was like, oh, what's going on, guys? And then one of them came up to me and was like, do you know where Bart is? And I said, nah, I don't know Bart. And then he took a big swing at me, and I remember I kind of like just kind of got out of the way, and I was like, what the hell? And then another guy hit me from the side, and I kind of stumbled back, went to get back up again, and I kind of put my hands up, and then I remember all this glass just went boom over my head, and one of them had just smashed a bottle in my head. Lucky the cops were there. So then the cops ran down and were like, broke it up, arrested one of the guys, And then I remember one of the cops looked at me and was like, "Are you okay? You just smashed a bottle on your head." But it was like, must have been so lucky because it must have hit me on the perfect spot on the head, right in the middle of the bottle, because it didn't cut me, didn't have a lump on my head or anything, but my nose was like real bent.
Yep.
And then the ambulance came and they were like, I was like, "Can you fix my nose?" So I looked in the mirror, it was like real busted up, and they're like, "You can try and fix it." So then I kind of pushed it back into place. Anyways, I never wanted that feeling ever again where I felt helpless. Like, I felt helpless in that situation, and if the cops weren't there, what would have happened to me? And it was for no reason. So then I learned how to fight, and I went and signed up at HTC. I did my first session with Adam Newton, and I remember thinking, this is awesome. And then I started training with Priscus, and then eventually I kind of just had my first fight after I'd been training for like less than a year, but I had a lot of like rugby experience, so I kind of just used rugby in my first fight.
So your first fight, I was against, what was his name?
Jordan Garci.
Yeah. So I think I was like 16 at the time, and Priscus like asked me if I wanted to take it, and I was like, I don't think I'm ready yet. I want to fight like in a certain amount of time. And then you took the fight. You'd only been training for a few months.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, I feel like the biggest pussy. Kids just started.
Yeah, but you were younger than me. You were like you're like younger than me.
I just
so.
learned to talk.
Yeah, but I remember the first time I saw Kahn, I didn't know him, and I was on a bus and I looked off, and it was him and his little mates, and Kahn, and you're not going to believe this, guys, but Kahn had like a little rat's tail, and he calls it a Jedi. He calls it a Jedi, and it was kind
It's
of
a fancy rat.
Thinking back, it was cool. We should bring it back. Anyways, we'll put up a poll. But then I remember seeing him go, "Oh, look at that little bastard! Like, he needs a flogging, that guy." And then little did I know he would have beat the shit out of me.
and like has many a times, I guess, in those past few
he's
years.
one of the only two people I'll admit in this whole world that can beat me up, which sucks. But yeah, so that's how I got into martial arts, and that's how me and Kahn became best mates. And then what I didn't know, and then I also had like 2 fights, and I didn't even know how to throw a punch. Like, I was just like looking at the guy and had zero confidence in my skills striking. And then Kahn was always lighting me up on the feet. And then he invited me to go back to his house. You're in Kettering?
Yep.
He was living in Kettering, and his old man, Jakey, was a really good striker, had really good drills and good pad work. And I didn't know how to strike. And then I was doing my electrical apprenticeship at the time, and every day during the week I would drive to Kettering. I would train with Carney and his dad, and we would do pads, drills, and I fell in love with striking from that. And then that's when I started to become a striker, because I was holding my hands up before fights. I'm like, I don't even know how to throw a punch barely.
You're the king of the overhand.
All I knew was the ISO bar overhand.
Overhand, double overhand. That was the...
Overhand left, overhand right. It looked like I was doing freestyle in a pool, but I didn't know how to swim. But then I started actually learning good elite striking from Kahn and his dad, and I fell in love with striking. And then me and Kahn had Muay Thai fights, and now I'm more of a striker than a grappler.
Yeah. No, it's well, for me, obviously, becoming a fan and spending all these years getting to watch you guys like grow up in the gym and then own it is just absolutely wild. But before I get to that, what was your personality like before the hitting the head with the bottle? Did that change you at all? Were you a nice boy before then?
Yeah, I was too nice. Me and my brother. Me and my brothers were like brought up with like really good manners and stuff, and like people thought we're like British. We're like, "Thank you very much, madam." Like, we were kind of like that. But then like when I started rowing and playing rugby, that made me tough. And then that's why I could get into fighting and kind of just fight straight away, because Prisca's like, this guy has no idea what he's doing, but he can take a flogging.
Priscus has perpetually seemed amused by you. Like, I remember it even back in the day, like, let him like standing there letting you swing on his body, going hard, him picking on you, like throwing you around, and you just wouldn't stop ever. And he loved it.
A good lesson that I learned from Priscus was he was like, I would always mouth... My opinion of mouthing off at people is if you're in a room and you mouth off at the toughest guy, they either beat you up or they don't beat you up, and now you're the toughest guy. But then I was mouthing off Priscus once, and I'm like, "Oh, you haven't got shit," mouthing off at him. And then he taught me a lesson, and he just like tried to make me give up by punching me in the legs. So he just took me down, punched me in the legs, and I wouldn't give up, but he kept punching me. And then the next day I had to call up my boss and I couldn't work because I couldn't walk. So I had to call up my boss because I was on a roof doing a lots of solar work as an electrical apprentice. And I couldn't walk. And I had to call up my boss and go, I literally can't climb up a ladder today. And I had to have a day off work.
That's awesome. Does Priscus know that story?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome.
Taught me a lesson.
I
Taught me a
love
good
that.
lesson. I can't remember what the lesson was, but...
Hey, well, I'm seeing you like take those lessons and put them onto the younger guys around here now as well. I'm sure like Leo and Felix have all learned a lot from you manhandling them around the gym.
Well, yeah, now Leo's kind of putting it on me, but you know, that was kind of my background. Was like I started fighting, and then my parents always told me you have to get an apprenticeship. I was the dumbest out of all my brothers, so they were like, to my brothers, they're like, you should be a doctor or go to uni, and then to me, they're like, you should. I don't know what you should do, maybe get an apprenticeship or something. And then I remember going for an electrical apprenticeship, and there was like 6 other blokes going for it. And I had just signed up for the Defence Force because my family is kind of like half it's like a military kind of family.
Yep.
And all my life I wanted to join the military. So I did all the aptitude testing, the interviews, the fitness tests and everything. And I was like a week off going to basic training in Kapuka. But then I got this electrical apprenticeship. And then I had to make a choice between the electrical apprenticeship or the Defence Force. The electrical apprenticeship and fighting. So then I was like, this is a good opportunity. So then I didn't go to the Defence Force. I decided to pursue the electrical apprenticeship and then fighting. And then further down the track, I started fighting good guys. And I was like, well, now I don't want to do the electrical apprenticeship anymore. Did it for 3 years. And I'm like, I'm going to pursue fighting full time. Then... this story is a bit PG, but when I was doing my apprenticeship, I went out to town with one of my mates through TAFE, and I was walking, and then I looked across the road, and there was like this big kind of fight going on, and then one guy was like outnumbered. It was just one guy versus like 3 guys, and then he kind of got dropped on the ground, and I remember a guy ran up behind him and like kicked him in the head and knocked him out, and it was like one of the most brutal things. It was just really, that guy had no honour. And I wasn't involved at all. And then I was like, oi, and I ran over, and this guy was like asleep on the ground, and his girlfriend was screaming. She was like, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. And I pulled off my jumper, put his hand under my jumper, and I followed the guy that kicked him in the head, and it was up past Telegraph, and I followed him up the road, and I was like, mate, you're a fucking pussy. Like, what? That was the most dog thing I've ever seen. And then he was like telling me to piss off, basically, walked around the corner, and it was my lucky day because around the corner was a car full of his mates. So then he walked around the corner, and this car full of blokes came around the corner, and then they all surrounded me in the middle of the road, and there was 6 of them, including this one guy, like all surrounded me in the middle of the road, and I was like, all right, this is on. And then they're all mouthing off me, and I was like, the thing that you do if you're fighting a group of people is you beat one of them as fast and as aggressively as you can because it kind of scares the others. And then I was like, all right, the guy that kicked him in the head, I'm going to put it on him. And I ended up punching him a couple of times, dropped him. People were coming in to try and punch me in the back of the head. Like, I had to constantly turn around and kind of like, it was pretty wild. Anyways, the guy got back up, punched him again. He fell over and he was like, all right, I'm done. And I ended up breaking my hand, and he was kind of bleeding a lot. And then these paddy wagons started coming down the road because it was right in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
And then I ran past Isobar, and there was a guy, Nick McKenzie, who owned the security company there. And I ran past, I was like, Nick, you got to let me in. And I was bleeding and my shirt was ripped. And he's like, fuck off. And then I'm like, okay. And then I ran to the waterfront, took off all of my clothes apart from my undies. And look, I'm going to disclose, this is an embarrassing part that I don't really tell people, but I really need to go to the bathroom before the fight. So then, have you ever needed to poo really bad and then got in a fight with like 5 blokes? You're not holding that thing in.
Okay.
So I pooed myself a tiny bit. Anyways, and then I jumped into the water.
A tiny bit or a...
I honestly, that's a detail that doesn't need it. We don't need to talk about it. Anyways, I jumped into the water, half to kind of hide, half to wash myself. And I kind of washed myself off. And then the cops came over to the side of the wharf and they were like, get out. And I remember wading like in the water and I was like, no.
And you threw poo at them.
No, I should have. Why didn't I think of that? And then I was like, no. And then they just left and I just got out, drive myself off, caught a taxi home. And then then Nick McKenzie sent me a message on Facebook and was like, oh, I saw it happen the other night. If you get your security license, I'll give you a job. So then I went and got my security license, stopped doing my apprenticeship, and then started working security. And that's how I started working security on the front door of Asaba. And I remember going after that, like the week after that, I went back to work for my apprenticeship and I had a broken hand and my boss was like, asked me about it. And he's like, well, you broke your hand like an idiot. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm not going to give you any time off work. So then I'm on the roof all day, every day, using a rattler and a drill with a broken hand.
Yeah.
But I deserved it. So that's how I got into working security.
And that's how you've got 1,000,001 stories. So we can have you back for like 200 episodes. I think next one is literally going to be exclusively security stories with you, I believe.
Well, I don't condone fighting the street. That's exactly that. The lesson I've learned over the years is like, that's one of the dumbest things you can ever do. But like, my perception on that is people say it takes the bigger man to walk away from a fight. And I agree with that. If you're both angry at each other and you're mouthing off at each other, it does take the bigger man to walk away. But it doesn't take the bigger man to walk away if you see something extremely unacceptable happen and you're too much of a coward to step in and help. That isn't the bigger man. That means that you are soft and you're not confident enough to be able to help. So many times I've seen really unacceptable things happen and no one will step in, and I'm always the one that steps in. So I do agree it takes a bigger man to walk away if it's like you're just mouthing off each other and there's no reasoning behind it. But if you see something really bad happening and you're not man enough to step in and help, then that's not being the bigger man.
No, and that sort of behaviour sort of sits with you. You know, you like if you leave a situation like, I should have done something, it haunts you as well. You know you didn't do the right thing in that situation.
Exactly.
You know, and it does haunt you.
If I don't step in when I think something bad's happening, I don't step in, I will never forget about that. It'll linger with me for a bit. Anyways, but I don't condone street fighting. These are just my story. I'm going to be open and honest about, like, these are pivotal moments in my life. So, like, I am going to be honest about them. But I really do not condone street fighting. No,
that's awesome. Yeah, cool. It's like that's what I really like about being able to have this podcast is it does give us some time to have these like conversations and kind of that we normally would have anyway. But we're letting the rest of the gym in on it, which is really, really nice. So one thing I kind of obviously want to ask both of you because I feel it quite deeply is we'll start with you, Kahn, again. You've been silent for a while there while we've been going through story time, which is good.
He's just shaking his head at my stories. He's heard that one about 20 times, I reckon.
As somebody who kind of grew up in the gym, what does it mean to you to be like owner and custodian of the Hybrid Training Centre?
That's a good question. I think I've thought about it in the sense of like the move to like when we originally bought in was something that just was like wasn't really maybe the best decision, but it was a decision that it meant a lot to me. And the circumstances were like at the time, Nikki and I were about to do our own thing. It was either we started our own gym or we went in with a previous owner, and it was during kind of COVID. So basically for me it was just like I didn't want to see the brand of HTC disappear and dissipate. And so now it's just like, I guess it's just a cool feeling to be able to offer something that really helped me in life and get me on a good path to other young people. That's probably one of the most fulfilling parts about working here really, is like seeing the younger guys have a place.
Yeah.
And keep them out of like trouble or help them learn respect and help them learn discipline and resilience, all those kind of traits that I think a lot of people lack these days for a bunch of different reasons. I do really think it helped me when things were tough in my childhood, and being able to offer that to the younger generation now is probably what fulfills me the most. And just to see HTC continue to grow, and it's kind of gone full circle, and to see it like really flourish now is awesome. Especially because like a lot of the OGs are still here. Like all of us here came from Hybrid Training Centre, and we're all back here, helping it grow and become one of the biggest things in Australia. So I think it's just a pretty special thing. Even just like when I'm on the laptop in the staff room, and every now and then I look up, I've got a bunch of those photos of just like the memories of like previous older days and like more current days, and it's just like that's a good reminder of like how awesome we've got it here. Even when the days are tough and like there's like issues or problems that we're trying to solve, You can look at those photos and there's just so many good times that outweigh the bad, and it's just it's pretty cool. I hope that kind of answers the question
Perfectly. Yeah. And what about you, Trusty?
Yeah, like what Kahn said, I love seeing like the community we've got and like the friendships that are forming, and people are like meeting and forming relationships. People are having babies in the gym, like not in the gym. Maybe we'll get to that one day. Don't count that out. That could happen. But then a lot of the young guys, like, you know, I've been in a lot of crazy situations. I used to be a bit wild back in the day, but they've formed me into the man that I am today, so I'm not ashamed of them. And now I've got some good insight for the younger guys. I'm like, I've been there before. I've been a bit of a maniac. I've kind of felt like I didn't have a path to follow, but now everything's come together for me, and I'm surrounded by my best mates in a, like, I've got fulfillment. I've got, you know, there's a road we're following. I feel really good about my life, and one thing that I thought I'd always regret was not joining the army, but I'm so glad that I didn't because of what we've got today. But yeah, I think one of my main things is I get to work with all my best mates and the younger guys coming up, like the young fighters, like I was talking about Leo the other day, for an example. Not only has he become a good fighter, but he can take good classes now. And that's a 17-year-old who commands respect from people. People listen to him.
Yeah.
He can be taking a group of people who are adults, and he's a 17-year-old kid, and because he's proved himself in the cage and he's a good guy and he loves the sport, like, he can command the respect of a room. So if you take that into any sort of job,
Right.
like,
yes.
that's gonna, now you're not just, you're a leader. You're learning how to lead. You're learning how to teach. Like, that's such a big thing for a young man to be able to do. So this can, if you can get good at martial arts, I fully believe that that's the pathway into mastering any skill.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I was really enjoying that, actually. Yeah, you're right. The crossover skills that people are getting here, especially like Kahn talks about this often, is like a lot of younger people that they're struggling with is literally how to communicate and be social. And, that's the thing is, I guess, that people on the outside who aren't privy to what we do in here probably just think, oh, yeah, you punch, you kick, you wrestle, you lift heavy things. But, there's these mentoring sessions where, you're telling these guys to get off their phone, stop scrolling.
Fix your posture, Felix.
Yeah, get Felix, fix your posture.
There's just so much more to it, isn't it? Like, just being, like, the younger guys, like, obviously they grow all those traits that are really important, the resilience and the ability to, like, have confidence and discipline. But just being able to communicate is a lost skill these days, and everyone here talks. We all communicate, we talk, we hang out, we socialise, and it's unfortunately mostly because of phones. It's just a lost skill. Kids really struggle to communicate.
Yeah,
I was listening to a stat on listening to a new book, and it's about data and statistics around what's happening in the world and things, but it was talking about how dating apps used to just be like this weird thing back in the day, where now more than 50% of relationships are formed from dating apps, and the number grows every year. So, like, it's a lost art to be able to just go communicate with someone, talk to them, and then build a connection. Now it's much more dating apps. And so already I just think that's not a great way, or like, to meet the love of your life, you know what I mean? Because it's based purely on attraction and photos. There's no initial connection or like that spark. It's just based purely on, I like the look of this person.
Or like dealing with rejection.
Yeah.
Like if you go up to a girl and you're like even going up to a girl and saying, oh, I think you're pretty, like that takes a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
But dealing with rejection and then like still trying to be confident with yourself, that's a really important skill for people to deal with.
For sure, absolutely.
But yeah, with like the young guys, like I had a quick chat with Owen and and Jane the other day.
Yeah.
About him fighting, and he's still at school and he helps at home with all the chores and stuff.
Yeah.
He's a good young man. But I said to her, if he can get into a cage in front of a crowd and fight someone, then the next time he's got an exam, or he needs to talk in front of people, or he needs to do something that makes him anxious, He's been in front of a crowd and fought in the cage. Do you think he's going to be stressing as much on like an exam? Like, it's going to help his mindset on literally everything. If you can get in there and do that in front of a crowd of people, what can't you do?
Man, so true, right? Yeah, things seem so much less stressful after you've gone through that experience. It's just, mind-boggling, right?
And then I'm like trying to convince her to let me put her son in a cage to fight, and then she gave me some basil and zucchini.
I used some lettuce last night. I got lemons. The lemons smell really good too, by the way.
Weird trade-off. I'm like,
Right.
I'll send him into battle if you just give me some vegetables.
Yeah. So shout out to Jane. Yeah, definite shout out to Jane. We accept bribes.
Sorry, if he fails his exams, I guess I'm in trouble.
You might well be. Yeah.
It's like, I did it with confidence. I failed with confidence.
He started shadowboxing mid-exam.
Well, that's the other thing we've kind of created here too. Is we've got some fierce mums, got some fierce ladies as well. So we've got people to answer to, and that's something else I think can't be overlooked in the gym. Is like having that caring aspect of like, mums in the gym is so awesome, and then them getting to see what their young men are doing, and then how that kind of comes home with them. Like, it's not like the messages never grow old. Like we all get them. It's awesome. I love it. I think that can't be overlooked as well. I really love it.
Yeah, there's a kind of a little bit of a. It's funny how sometimes when certain aspects of life, say for instance at gym, you kind of look at like that part, and there's a very tribal, well, I guess like what's the word? There's kind of like a tribal environment to it, and because it's like even in our past, that's kind of how it used to be. Like everyone would hang out, the young men would all play, fight, they'd go to war together, but everyone was a part of it, the whole family. And we've as times evolved, we don't have communities like that. It's much more rare, but this kind of has a place for everyone. Like like a whole family will train here. The kids will be in the kids classes, the teenagers will be in the cults classes. Sometimes the parents will do fitness or a bit of yoga, and everyone's a part of the community. So everyone kind of works together, and like that's just such a special thing to be able to offer a place for people to better themselves as a family, not just like one specific group of people. It's a whole family that can come here and train and be a part of the community, and it's cool, isn't it? Because you can, one of the kids might be having issues at school and struggling, and then we know the parents on a personal level, so we can talk and help bring them up. Because I think as a parent as well, when you've got kids growing up and they're teenagers, there's only so much influence you can place on them as a parent. You actually need other people like coaches or people that they look up to help. And so if you've got a connection with them, you can come up with plans to actually help them get through certain things or have different opinions. And I think that's something that, again, we've lost in society, but it's cool that we can kind of offer it here to families and young kids.
Even like it's like you say, Kahn, you can't fake. You go into a gym and there's like a fitness test, you can't fake being fit. Yeah. But you can fake a lot on social media. You can, make your life look a lot better than it is, or you can lie a lot on social media, and then everyone's seeing these things that aren't real on social media.
Yes. Yeah.
But you can't fake being good at fighting. That's why like MMA and martial arts is so good, and that's why the UFC was so good, because the UFC is like, let's see which martial arts is the best. Is it boxing? Is it Muay Thai? Is it wrestling, jiu-jitsu, karate, sumo? Like, what martial art is the best? And then they actually realized, well, I don't want to make Deacon too excited, but jiu-jitsu won the first UFC. But anyway, then what they realized was, oh no, you pick all of the best parts out of all of the martial arts and combine them, and that's MMA. So like, I think that's really important, that you can't fake it. Now it's like, oh, you are a tough guy. Oh, you're saying you're really good at fighting. Well, how about we organise a fight with you against this opponent at this weight in front of a crowd in 8 weeks, and then you can prove what you say. Because at the end of the day, if you're talking shit and like you're a fake person, it'll get revealed in the cage. And that's one of the best things about these young men. That's what's forming their character. Because there's no talk is cheap. When you're in there, you gotta back up what you've been saying.
100%. That's right. Yeah. There's a real congruency to it, which is amazing. And I think as we're saying, like that influence and that trust that we build up with the families as well for that. I think that has weighed heavy on me over the past few years, and I think in a really positive way it's changed me, because I take it like that trust that parents have in me to, you know, help teach their kid martial arts, give them, you know, as sensible advice as I can, you know, be honest with them. You know, I think it's made me a better human being, and I want to keep getting better with it. And when you keep putting them in situations where, as you said, like it is the truth of the matter. Okay, he was better and fitter and stronger on the night, and he beat you up. Okay, well done for getting in there, but you still got beat up, and there are things to improve on. And you know, that sort of real world honesty, I think, does build good young men. And like you got, I watched it happen to both of you, and now you're my bosses, which is cool.
You're fired.
Have my job back.
It's like as Flowers says, you're not a real man till you're being bashed. And I couldn't agree more. Anyone can dish out a beating, but when you have to go through, like, when you have to like experience that kind of hardship and take a loss, and you've got literally beaten up, and you have to bounce back from that and build your confidence like from the ground up.
Yeah,
that's how you build character.
Yeah.
Anyone can be a winner their whole life if they're a racehorse, you know what I mean? But can you lose and come back? Can you get knocked out and come back? Can you get bashed and come back and build that confidence? Building confidence is a skill, and that's what we're teaching these young men. I tell them before they go into fight, I go, I will never put you in a fight unless I think you're going to win.
Yeah.
Because they ask me, like, am I good enough? And I'm like, I'm not putting you in there if I... Like, there's a lot of coaches that put fighters in there when they're not ready and they get hurt.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for a long time now, and that's one thing that I've learned. It's, you know, you put the fighter in there, the coach is also in there, like mentally,
you feel
like
it.
You're in there.
Yeah.
If they lose, you feel that, and it hurts
horrible.
your heart. You know what I mean? So it's like, I always tell the guys, if you're ready, I'll put you in there. If you're not ready, I'm not putting you in there. And then they've got your confidence.
Yes, true.
And then look at Leo. Look how confident that guy's getting. He started off like a little scared schoolboy. Now he's badass, and he just beat me up like half an hour ago.
And Tom.
He only beat him up a little bit, but he really bashed Tom Ackley. Like, honestly, picked him up and just literally picked him up. I'm telling you.
We got to get the footage.
We do. Yeah, maybe we could put that footage on this episode, or we could make a bit of a reel with it if we don't mind. Like,
that's what we got the cameras for.
And especially if we can see your face. I haven't seen you look so happy since you married Abby. Okay, like you were stoked. So, which is pretty brilliant.
Two biggest moments in 2026: marrying Abby and seeing Leo beat up Tom.
Doesn't get better than that. If only that could have happened on the same day.
I don't think you could have taken that, brother. I'm
getting married to look over. I was like, is that Leo beating up Tom Ackley? Just push Abby out of the way.
Alrighty, then back to something a little bit more pointed. What is your vision for Hybrid's future, Kahn?
There's a lot of things that come to mind. Well, as a collective, we've definitely all communicated about making it the biggest, the best martial arts and training facility in Australia and known across the world. So what that looks like for us is, I guess what it is now, but on a bigger scale. And then we have athletes competing internationally at the highest level, which we already kind of do, but just, I guess, having more of a path for even more athletes. Potentially more locations. We probably wouldn't take it out of Tassie though, unless a really, really, really good opportunity came up where we could still maintain culture. But yeah, potentially more facilities in Tasmania. And I think as well, just improving all of our brand services that we provide. There's a million different paths we could take, but I think the biggest thing is just having having a facility like we have now that's bigger and that offers a pathway for young athletes, young adults to make a career out of fighting, martial arts, jiu-jitsu, because it is hard in Tasmania. We have less population down here. We just have less opportunities. So if we can really bring martial arts as a whole and make martial arts as a big thing in Tasmania and offer that pathway. That's where I really want to take it. Yeah.
Awesome. And Tross, I have a slightly different question for you. Because we know we leave the thinking to Kahn most of the time.
Thank you.
You're on a right, so you take on a big burden. But, like, if we had every member in the gym listening to this podcast, what kind of a message would you like to give to them? Because you've been giving some wonderful sermons at the end of your classes recently, and they kind of, I wish we recorded them. If you had a message to get out to everybody, what would it be?
It would probably just be like the biggest lesson that I've learned lately is just been about confidence and building confidence. And the only person that can build confidence is you. And you have to earn that with yourself. So when you do a hard workout, if you have an exam that you need to pass, if the pressure's on you at work and you like knuckle down and you work really hard and you get it done, every time you do something like that, you build confidence within yourself. It doesn't matter what everyone else thinks of you. If you're not confident within yourself, you're not confident at all. So confidence really motivates you to push yourself and, accomplish all these goals that you'd like when you're younger you'd envision yourself doing. When you are confident within yourself as well, if you're in a bad situation or a bad relationship, you're much more likely to pull yourself out of that. So you don't get sucked down by other people with bad energy, in a bad relationship, in a bad job. If you are truly confident within yourself, you're much more likely to pull yourself out of that situation and surround yourself with better people. So that's probably the main message I'd have. Like, start building confidence with yourself. It can be anything. Compete. Do it. Like, one thing that I've been doing is I've been getting in the cold bath. That sucks. If you do that every day for 3 minutes, you could take someone who was no confidence, they were soft as butter. If you get them in the cold plunge every day for 3 minutes, I'm telling you, they will be tough and they will build confidence just off getting in the cold water. So little things like that.
Yeah, those little tests of self, you get better at them. I know, like, even just like the cold shower stuff for me, like, get home, like your brain's like, yeah, not tonight. You've earned the warm shower tonight, and you're like, Chris, don't be a little bitch. You've been a little bitch all day.
Yeah, what are you telling yourself?
Do this one hard thing. It's not that hard. It's like a couple of minutes. Yeah. And you always feel better for doing it, and it does seem to get easier. So you're right. You build that confidence through proving to yourself you can do it.
And then you learn what to tell yourself. Like, what's your inner dialogue? Like, if your inner dialogue's negative all the time, that's not confident. It's like my last fight. I was just telling myself one thing. We take the hard path. We take the hard path. We take the hard path. Because like a lot of us here, we always take the hard path. We're pushing ourselves athletically and taking risks business-wise. We're working hard. We're always taking the hard path. Yeah. And that's how you get the best results. And it's funny because it seems like that makes life harder, but in the long run, it makes it easier. But if you're never taking the hard path, eventually it catches up with you and life becomes real hard.
Right.
So yeah. Even just having something that you can tell yourself, I always take the hard path. And then when you're doing something hard, you've just got that mantra in your head. That's helped me so much, just having a mantra before fights. I'm not thinking, what if this happens? What if this happens? I'm thinking that one phrase, and that gives me power, gives me confidence.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, guess we're all living testament to that. Is through doing the hard things, through being a bit disciplined, having a little bit of faith, we're all getting to live the dream. We're all getting... Yeah, we don't have to go to a shit job that we hate every day. We get to hang out with our best friends every day. We get to improve people's lives every day. We live the dream. But it did come at the expense of a lot of hard work, risk as well. Like, obviously going to your own... Starting a business together in 2020 is...
In COVID.
Pretty sketchy. In fact, actually, you know what? That wouldn't be a bad little... Like, this building itself, like, people come in and I when I show them around, sometimes I'm like, this is the gym that Love built. So while we've got people's ears, let's talk about 2020. So you were in Sydney, you and Nikki were doing Monkey Motion.
Yeah, we were in Orford for like 8 weeks. We just basically bunked up there and spent all of COVID. It was awesome, actually.
Imagine how much food was eaten by Kahn.
Yeah. So let's talk through that. Let's go from 2020, things are shut down. What were the conversations you guys were having? How did you find the building? When did you guys know that you were fully in?
It's a great question. We knew we were fully in when lease was signed. We were here. We'd ripped out half of the stuff, ripped out the bathrooms, and we realised that we couldn't get any funding for any gear. That's when we were like, well, there's no pulling out now. We got to commit. We got to figure it out. So I'm a big believer when it comes to like entrepreneurial business advice. Commit first, figure it out later. I learned that off the 10x rule from Grant Cardone. That was a big we were committed. We were balls deep in signed lease. We had to make it work. A couple of pretty stressful nights, but it worked out, because when you're forced to work it out and there's no backing out, you're pretty likely to find your way through. But if you've got a second option or a plan B, it's probably not gonna. You're gonna just have that easier option. Jump in deep if anyone's out there thinking about starting a business or having a crack at like doing something cool in a way to like help people's lives or just make Tassie better, the world better, whatever your ambition is, just jump in. But basically HTC's where it was in Glenorchy, Chapel Street, the lease there was running out. So we Nikki and I decided to go in with Jez, who was the owner at the time, and we were looking for a place. Trossie called me up and kind of could see some of the marketing stuff we were putting out to just promote it, and was like, I want to be in. We'd always talked about opening a gym together, and he's like, I want to move back to Tassie. And being my best mate, like I'd always go up to Sydney for my birthday to see him, and I was like, if he's coming back to Tassie, that's bloody awesome. So talked to the guys, we made it work. Basically formulated a company. We found this place. There was a few different ones we're looking at, but found this place. And the good thing about it being COVID, it gave us a little bit of negotiating power with the lease, because obviously no one was trying to start a business, or no commercial properties were going for lease at that time. So gave us a bit of negotiating power. We learned a little bit at the same time as well, and what the world of real estate is like. It's pretty cutthroat. Anyway, got the lease. Jez has had a little bit of money that he could invest. I had a little bit. Trossie had a little bit, but was not enough at all. So basically, we were relying on a loan from the bank to help fit out the place, get it all, get all the equipment set up. And the banks just said, "No way! You guys have got no business experience. It's COVID. We're not lending money to anyone right now. We're not going to lend you a cent." So that was a bit of a shock. We were like, okay, how the fuck are we going to make it work? But basically we ended up getting a lot of our stuff through China. Luckily, Leo helped us out. So it cut our costs down by about a little bit more than half. And so we got cage, we got mats, we got our cage, we got the cage to run around, we got flooring, all of the basic shit we needed. We got enough equipment to basically set up for the fitness stuff, and then we just made it work. Once the delivery got here, the gym actually looked pretty sick. We kitted it out with the flooring and the cage, and then we did so when it was at Chapel Street, it had about 30 memberships, and then before we opened, we did a pre-sale of memberships, and we got about 60 people, because we knew that if we could get 60 through the door, that would be enough to just like cover costs initially. And we got 60 in that pre-sale, and then I think we got to 100 quite quick, and then every year was just like another 50, or every 6 months was like another 50 was our goal, another 50, another 50. And now we're currently at a bit over 400 members. We want to take it to 500 in this location, and then if we can get a new location, our own property, we want to get 600 plus, and a bigger space for the jiu-jitsu, bigger space for the strength and conditioning, bigger space for the striking area, plus a cage and a ring, better recovery facilities, and obviously a podcast facility would be number one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the goal and the dream. That's that big facility that we can own and kind of just do what we want to it, have a bunch more space. So we can, because our classes are full at the moment, we really need to have that extra space so we can facilitate more people, and we can do more things. So I guess that's the journey of like going balls deep at the start. That the finding out that the bank wasn't gonna lend us any money to get the gear was a good character building moment, but we figured it out, like we made it work. And there's always another bit of advice I'd like to give to people is just like, there's always a way. It's just about being resourceful of who can I contact to ask for advice, who can help me in this situation, or what do I know out of my experience that I can use to overcome this challenge and this problem. And that philosophy for me has always helped when there's been hard shit. We're like, oh, fuck, what do we do here? What's going to happen? It's just about taking it step by step, being resourceful, thinking about who you can ask for advice and help, and thinking about your own set of skills and knowledge so you can apply it. The more you freak out and just worry about, shit, this is really bad, this is all the negative shit that's going to happen, that's never going to help you. So if you can just be calm, collected, and just think logically through the situation, you can almost overcome any challenge. And like what Chris was talking about, building your own self-confidence is the prerequisite to just that, and just doing well at life, figuring out shit, overcoming problems and challenges, or actually taking that step that you want to take in order to improve your life. Because self-confidence gives you that autonomy, and when you've got that autonomy, you can take control of your life. But yeah, that's kind of that's the business side of getting here, really, I guess.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, very well articulated too. When we were putting this place together through 2020, like I think some people don't realize that it was literally you guys doing it on the tools.
Oh yeah,
painting on the walls. They were big days, like
paint, dust in our eyeballs and ears and nose.
Asbestos. Snorted a few lines of asbestos. But you know what? Asbestos, don't listen to what people say. It's fucking strengthens the immune system.
It's 70s creatine, is it? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I saw there's a town in Australia, like rural Australia somewhere, where they got cleared out.
Yeah.
Asbestos, but there's one bloke that lives there and he just doesn't believe in it. And he's just like, nah, it doesn't affect me.
Doesn't affect
and
me.
He's still alive.
What a legend.
He's used his mind to conquer asbestos. We can all aspire towards that.
Well, I've seen your wife do the same thing when she's been sick. Like,
Abby's just the most arrogant person with nothing apart from her immune system.
Yeah, she's like, no, I just believe in it, and then it seems to always work.
She also believes in echinacea. Echinacea. It can heal anything, apparently, if you ask Abby. Whenever I get sick, she forces me to have these weird echinacea pills, and I'm like, I used to pretend to have them and throw them out, but then she's like, yeah, like imagine you're in a psych ward and they're making sure you have your meds. It's kind of like that with the echinacea. Like she watches me, she's like, open your mouth, did you swallow it?
And she's had to start tricking him, like you have to do with Zambo, no doubt. She probably like puts it in cheese and stuff and then throws it at you.
Why is this cheese crunchy?
Now another one, just a fun one. Who have you met through the gym who you just like, they've been like a real character, like, I don't think I could have ever met them anywhere else than here? Let's start with you, Trossi. You've met some characters.
Chris.
I mean, actually, I just want to... Sorry, yeah.
Chris was the first one that came. Trossi was the first one that came to my head. I'm like, that is a character.
Like, because because like when we got out of the plane in Sydney and went to a bit of business development, we literally met a wizard, like a travelling wizard.
A professional magician. I used to train this guy. I used to train him, and then as soon as... He's like a Korean guy, but he's real, like, eccentric kind of magician. But he used to be a fighter. And then as soon as we walk out of the airport, he comes up, Chris, what's going on? And if you saw him, he does look magical. He does, yeah. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, he's a magician. I'm like, of course he is. Oh, he's really, really good at spinning stuff and a wicked fighter. I'm not shocked in any way, shape or form. In fact, I'm not shocked that you know this dude. I should have known. I went to his 30th and the only people there were like 15 magicians and like 10 fighters. It was the weirdest shit I've ever seen. And all of the magicians had cards in their pockets. They're like, but the best part was they were like, at the end, they were all doing tricks. Like one of them was like swallowing razor blades. Like they're doing crazy tricks. Yeah. And then one of them was like, I'm going to do a card trick. And well, I personally don't like card tricks, but one of them was like, I'm going to do a card trick. can I get a volunteer? And then everyone's like, Chris, be the volunteer. And I was like, fucking hell. And then I went up there. And then at the end of the trick, he's like, and was this the card? And I'd forgotten what card he'd showed me. And I was like, yeah, it is. And he's like, what? And it wasn't the card, but I'd forgotten. So I accidentally ruined his whole trick. I was too dumb. If you're dumb enough, magic doesn't work on you. Remember that.
What about you, Kat? So you probably have to go soon, right? Is that what you're just getting at?
About the characters, I think there's actually a lot of characters that we could probably mention. I think one of the most unique people is Priscus.
For sure.
He's just the sweetest but toughest, kind of weirdest bloke you ever meet. Like, he's just like, he's got some Abby kind of vibes with immune systems and health and strength and conditioning. You know what I mean? He'll just be like, tear your ACL, just drink 2 litres of olive oil and that should fix it. And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember when he was cutting weight once and he was just like eating a tin can of chickpeas. And I was thinking, that's what I thought. I was like, my brain just didn't work. I was like, I'm not even going to ask, to be honest.
Yeah, I've never seen someone just eat like 500 grams of plain tuna by itself before. You know what I mean? He's like, his diet advice is like, what you do is you just make meatballs and then that's all you eat. That's not the worst advice.
What about you, Carney? Besides Trusty, have you got someone that springs to mind?
There's too many to think of, I reckon. I think in a holistic view, I think the cool thing is the different people that you do meet. There's no one really in particular that jumps to mind, but it's just cool getting to know lots of different people, different walks of life, different characters, what gets them here, or how they're drawn to martial arts, or even just I think for you as well and myself, I really like learning how martial arts has helped people.
Yeah.
So people that have been here for a while or have come from other martial arts backgrounds. Almost always, it's so rare, but almost always, if someone comes to our gym that has done martial arts previously and they're looking for a gym and they're like, oh, this place is pretty cool, I've done a little bit of fitness stuff, I've done martial arts, they're usually just always a good person.
Right.
It's so rare that you ever find a martial artist that is a bad person. Just because of the character.
Tom Ackley, though.
Because of the character it builds in people, I think.
Yeah.
But for sure, anyone that's come here that's done martial arts before, generally a really, really good person. And I think the cool thing about it is it also really helps turn people into better versions of themselves too. But yeah, I can't think of anyone in particular.
Well, I feel like I need to give a shout out to Mark Menzies. I don't believe I ever would have met a character like him, except for the fact he's bringing his boys along, and the stories and just him existing and still being alive, after things he's told me.
Such a good bloke.
Yeah, and he's just the best guy in the world. So big shout out to Mark Menzies. He's my character. But yep, you look like you need to
have to go. But guys, I've actually been writing a song for the podcast. It's called "I Wish Deacon Was My Mum," and it goes a little something like this. Actually, I'm running late. All right, to be continued next time.
I love you, Trust. We should wrap this up anyway. So thank you so much, guys. That was really fun. And we'll see you guys all next episode. Big love. Bye.